All right, so next thing that we are going to do in this video is to create a method to actually view the data. So at this point, we should have set up the screen for you to enter at least a name, and then you guys are doing the other fields, two other fields, and then adding that contact. Okay, so you should have the ability to call your add data method, and you bound that through, if you remember, we bound that through the attributes part of the button by using the on-click field here to select the add data method. And so now what we want to do is we want to put together a method that will allow us to view it. Okay, so we want to view data for that. So we want a new method here. We're going to call it public, and it's a void, and it's we're going to call it view data. And this is something that, again, we're going to bind it to a button, so it's going to be a view type. And actually, I'm in the wrong class here, so we got to do it in main activity. Sorry, it's in main activity. So it's a public void, and it's called view data, and I'm going to pass it a view. This is an Android view that allows us to bind it to a button because we'll have a view data button. All right, and then again, log D message to see that we're getting there. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to say my view contact button has been pressed. And so what we want to do is implement what's called a cursor. A cursor in database lingo is basically like a way to access elements inside the elements inside a record, so that we can pull data off of it. We can access individual records, and we can access the results. So it's kind of like a temporary buffer area, and it stores the results from the SQL database entry. All right, so we're going to use that. In class, I will point you guys to, and we'll look at the cursor API. But for now, it's going to be called a cursor, and we're going to call it res for our results, and that equals the MyDB reference, and then get all data. And we're going to write that routine. So we need to quick fix the cursor. So it's Alt Enter and then Option Enter for a Mac. And now what I want to do is say if my res.getCount is equal to 0. If that is the case, then I want to say show message, and this is a message. We're going to write this routine too. This is going to be showing the message on the screen that says error, and then we're going to say no data found in database, something like that. All right, and we haven't written that show message method yet either. All right, and then from here, and I put this in as an assignment in class, we're going to say we want to put together a string buffer. Okay, so string buffers we talked about earlier in this class. It's of type string buffer, so my variable name is buffer, and it's going to be equal to a new string buffer. And then what I want to do is I want to pull the input from the reference, the results reference, which is the cursor, and append it into the buffer. All right, so I'm going to have one line that's going to look like this: buffer.append, and I'm going to say my ID in this case, and that's going to be, I'm going to concatenate it with my res.getString, and it's going to be element 0, so it's the first column, and then plus and then /n, so that we can get that in there. All right, so we're going to append to the string buffer our ID, and then we're going to get the string from the results cursor at column 0, and then we're going to put a line feed in there. Okay, so you're going to do the other ones. So, you know, do other entries. Okay, and then we're going to say in our logd message here that we have we're in the main activity, and then we can say that the view data buffer has been assembled. So, you know, I don't know, in view data buffer assembled, something like that. Okay. And then after that, we want to show the message again that we haven't done yet, and it's going to be called data. This is the thing that will show up in the little box that we show the contact. And then I'm just going to say buffer.toString. So our buffer is a string buffer. We're putting all the stuff in there, and then we're going to display it. Okay, so that's the view data. We're going to have to put a button there, and then bind the button to the view data method, and you know how to do that now. Just put it into the activity main, put a button down, use your on-click option, and then select view data. All right, and then our show method, we're going to use what's called an alert dialog. So I'm going to say public void show message, and I have a string for the title and then a string for the message. All right, so this is going to be an alert dialog message that allows us to put stuff up on the screen. This is like, you know, similar to what like a toast message would be, but it's more permanent. It just stays up there. All right, another logd message to see that we're in there. And I'm in the main activity. And then I'm going to say that our show message method, and we are building the alert dialog. We'll talk about what an alert dialog is in class. Alert dialog is a class, and it's a builder, a class builder basically. And we're going to call this builder, and it's going to be equal to a new alert dialog builder, and then the context is this that we're going to send to it. All right, and again, this is something where it's a basically like a box that comes up, and it will kind of alert the user of something. Okay, so it's from the alert dialog class, and we're going to say this is builder dot set cancelable. So we want to be able to cancel it to true, so that we can cancel out of it. So when we tap outside of the box, that we can cancel it. And then we say builder dot set title. We're going to put the title on there, and then we're going to say builder dot set message, and we want to put the message in there. Okay, so these are just the parameters that came in. Title is here, message is here, and then builder dot show. So we want to show it on the screen. Okay, so this is just basically saying when we get the record that we want to, the contact that we want to view, it'll create a dialog box. It pops up on the screen when we execute show, and what it'll have in it is the title and the message, so whatever we sent up to it from the up above on the view data, and it will show on the screen. It'll stay there until we cancel it, and the way we cancel it is by just clicking off of it or tapping off of it, and we can do that by this method call here, set cancelable. All right, I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, so we're almost done. We just need to now create the method for this get all data. So this is getting the data from the database. So we want to go into the database helper, and we're going to create a method in there. And this one we're going to have it's called public, and it's going to return a cursor type. So we we'll have talked about this in class. So we're going to call this get all data, DATA. All right, and then we need to import that cursor class. And we're going to put a log D in here. So I'm going to open this guy, and inside my database helper, and I'm going to say that just basically that we've called the method get all data called. Okay, so you want to get in the habit of just putting a lot of prints and stuff in there. We need to create a database, so our SQ or SQLite database, DB, a local variable that equals this dot get writable database. So we're going to get the database. Then what we want to do is define a cursor, and again, this is our results cursor equals DB dot, and we want to use this method called raw query. Okay, we'll talk about this in class again. And what we want to do in here is we have to create a command. So we're going to say select star, so all of the stuff from, and then quote plus, and it's our table name, and then null. So our additional arguments are null. And then we can put more log Ds in here, but basically then we just are returning the result. Okay, so we're returning that query. All right, so again, what we'll be looking at in class is the cursor class, the raw query, how to do that, and then we'll also look at it from the point of view of the view data, where we created it and we did a get all data here. So we will have used that, and then we'll also look at the alert dialog. So that's all going to be done in class. This is the code that you're going to need. You have to do these other entries, so I'm not doing those for you. You need to do those as an assignment, and then you should be able to now, once you enter a contact, you should be able to now pull it back out. All right. The only thing you have to do is bind the view data, and that's how I mentioned before. You're going to pull a button in. So, for example, I'm going to pull another button in here. And then if I open that button, and then I want to on-click, now I have the add data and the view data. So I would bind it to view data. Okay, so that's where that would come from. And then if I go back to my view data now, it's no longer grayed out, so I know that it's bound. All right, so I think that's it for pretty much everything to save a contact and then retrieve it. We're going to do a little bit more extensions on these things where you can do searching for it, but for now this will just get you up if you've gotten lost along the way.